John Nelms here alongside Samantha Hosek and Tim Vandermel. Thanks so much, y'all, for joining us today. Tim is with C3 Technology Advisors, and we're thrilled to have y'all as a partner. Just a practice that has grown tremendously, and the partnership has been great. So we definitely appreciate that. Tell us a little bit more about who C3 is.
Yeah, so C3, we've been around for quite a while. Matthew Toth actually got us established in 2008, so it's been a long ride. I was fortunate being his first employee back in 2012, and now that we're a company of 33, it's just been really fun to watch. A lot of our focus is around CX, security, UC, of course. Obviously, that's a big one that we're going to be talking about today. Wide area networking, and pretty much everything cloud and SASE.
Tim, as being one of our top producing partners at Zoom and in the Midwest, how have you guys as C3 grown your business with Zoom? Meaning, how have you guys invested with us? What's working? You guys have tripled your business with us in the past 3 years.
I got to give a lot of kudos to our engineering team. They're doing a really good job of keeping their ear to the ground, keeping us up to date as to what you guys are coming out with. So that way, when we do find ourselves in conversations with existing customers or prospects, they're just extremely prepared to answer that question or address like, hey, just so you know, this is an option that is actually out there with one of our top partners. So I got to give a lot of kudos to them. I would also say, got to give some kudos back to you guys. You guys are investing in a lot of our events, so you're helping us be part of that relevancy when it comes to Zoom. Everybody knows Zoom. You guys are a verb now. You guys have been a verb for a long time. We actually do use your platform, and we're continuing to learn how to use it either better or more effectively. Case in point, Zoom IQ. We just had a training with you guys just a couple of weeks ago on Zoom IQ. So I think you'll see more of us start to use that, and that's how we're gonna stay up to date, and that's how we can come up with these little nuggets to when we hear something from our customers or our prospects, we can say, hey, this actually does exist. Let me actually show you an example.
So I want to talk to you about a recent win around, it was a big one, 7,000 seats. It was replacing a call manager with a Zoom Phone contact center as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about that win?
Yeah, so I got to give a shout out to my guy Steven for my team, because he did a lot of the work on that. Him and Joe Mock from my team, one of our awesome engineers. So, but yeah, this customer has actually been a customer of C3's for quite a few years. The interesting thing is we were kind of stuck in this bucket of only being like the connectivity guys. Like, hey, if they needed internet connections, they'd reach out to us, and we'd be able to help them out. Steven, my counterpart, actually was on an email where he noticed a new name, and this new name was actually the incoming IT director. So she had a couple of questions. Steven immediately responded and was able to get a conversation with her. I really do think we kind of joke about it. If he wouldn't have taken that instance to be just a little bit curious to figure out who this person was, I don't know if we'd be sitting on this video right now to tell this story. She reached out to us and said, hey, I think I have got this like UC thing that I want to talk about. It's starting to be talked about here internally. I just really like to get an idea of what you guys think. So that was back in January of 2022, and fast forward through a couple of things. In July, we got a signed order. So it was around like 81, 82K a month, which, for a deal of that size, you would typically expect it to be, a little bit longer sales cycle. But
sure.
Again, I got to give kudos to my team here for really just driving that forward. So as we started talking about the different ideas, and this is after we've got their needs and requirements and all that jazz, we very quickly said, well, hey, we can look at some other players, but let's look at the facts. The facts are, you don't want anything that's legacy or on-prem based. So that's cool. That cuts out a lot of things. You want to consolidate your tools. So when we look at some of the tools that you have in place right now, Zoom meetings, using Teams for internal stuff. All right, now we're starting to, again, further narrow down that list.
Was the customer considering anyone else during that evaluation?
Yeah, so they looked at Ring Central, they looked at Teams, and they did look at a few other players just for like a second. But I would say the majority of the evaluation was between Zoom and Ring Central. I think they looked at Teams just because they had heard about it, they had executives asking them about it. So, but they did say pretty early on in the process that based on what Teams could provide, they just didn't really feel like that was like their long-term approach for global voice. So again, then it became to between Zoom and Ring Central. Again, kudos to Ring Central. They did really well. They did everything that was asked of them. But I think for for the customer, it really just came down to, all right, I can have Zoom meetings and I can have Zoom phone and I can have some other features all in one platform, or I can start to separate these things. Regardless of how cool the other platform was, it's like, all right, well, let's actually adhere to what we initially, provided C3, which was, the number one thing was consolidating efforts, consolidating tool sets. So again, another really good reason to go with Zoom One.
Well, thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate you joining us today and carrying the Zoom flag for us out there. We really do appreciate the partnership. And thanks everyone for watching today.